you ever ride a bicycle, eventually the tire's gonna go flat. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to repair a bike flat by changing a tube. How do I know the tube's bad? Well, I took it apart the other day. It was leaking, so we're going to be replacing it. It's pretty simple. You're gonna need a couple tools. Usually a socket and a wrench for the nuts holding the wheel on. And the nuts and the hardware in this case are 15 millimeter. So put a 15 millimeter on one side. You have bike horns in the way, by the way. Your bike probably won't have that. But there we go. Loosen that. And then loosen the other side. Put those bike horns away. I got a ground over here too. That has to come off. And a lot of times you're also going to have some sort of washer, like so. So keep that together, don't lose it. Put it down on the ground. Let's get the other side. The other side's a little bit different. Has a little cage over here. So we're going to have to take that off as well as the nut. Same size, 15 millimeter. Now, with this sort of bike, it's kind of strange because it has this little bracket. Remember how it goes. You slide it like so, and be out of the way. And if you tilt it, you can fish it out of the frame. But we're not going to do that. Next up, you're going to have to remove the chain, but you'll also find if you have brakes like this, just a typical, I'm forgetting what they call them, little claw brake thing, you're going to have to take the tension off the brake cable. And that's on the other side. And it's just a little piece that you pull up on right over here. You press it, pull up on it, off, just like that. And now we can get the chain off. We'll go back on the other side. Now we have our wheel and tire off. What you can do if there's any residual air, you can just push down on the Schrader valve, or you can just use a valve stem tool and put it in there. And it will also release the remaining air. If you don't want any real air, there we go, in the tube, or else the tire is going to be a real pain to remove. Keep the little valve core too, they always get to have. Moving a tire is tricky, but basically I just like to pinch the tire and you just pull it, and eventually you can work it off the whole wheel, just like so, until it's completely off, like right now. Now we have a bare tire, but the tube is still installed. So just grab the tube. The old tube just pulls right out. It was leaking around the valve stem, you typically do. So this is a new one. Air it up just a little bit and then put it inside the tire. I'll add this in too, if you know what size tube you need. Usually it's printed on the actual tube. The exterior of the tire also says it 26 by 195. I hope to make this tube last a little bit longer, so I just put a small piece of tape with the valve stem, whatever exits the wheel, so that it doesn't rub. See, this wheel has a little protective rubber sleeve, or a ring rather. But sometimes that doesn't always help, and the tube still gets pinched over there and you get a flat. Put the tire back on. I always start with the valve stem first. Find the valve stem, put that in there. Get the tire back on. You just basically just keep working it all the way around, stretching it slowly, and you'll get it back on the wheel. Just be careful to not pinch the tube. Alright, we're almost there. Let's get the inside lip now to put back on. Some tires, they're very strong, they're much harder to put on the wheel. If that's the case, let's let them sit in the sun for a while. Alright, that looks good. Make sure the valve stem is straight. Now with a hand pump or an air compressor, you can slowly inflate the tire. Some people recommend using a hand pump for anything with a tube, because a air compressor is too strong, you know. It can have like pressure upwards to 150 psi, so it comes out real fast and blows it. Air it up to spec, 50 pounds. Let's go reinstall the wheel. Put the wheel back on. First, align it with the chain. Gonna go like so. And then it's gonna drop down into the pockets, or the slots rather, where the wheel goes, and that's it. That part is done. Now put the washers back on, the nuts, the bike horn, and the brake. Now we got a brake to hook back up. This is real tricky. That's a cable right over here. Has to fit in this little equalizer. Perfect, or else you're never going to get it on. Squeeze up on the other brake. On. And that's it. Back together. Tires inflated. Job is done.